Something shifted in you this morning. You might not have the exact words to describe it, but you woke up with a different feeling, a weight that seems to have moved somewhere else, leaving behind a strange emptiness and, at the same time, an expectation you can't explain. You're not the same person who lay down last night. The silence in your home feels heavier, and the voices from the outside world sound distant, like you're watching a scene you're no longer part of. I came here to tell you exactly what happened. You spent too much time trying to force life's doors to open, believing your exhaustion was the price of your destiny. But what you felt today isn't tiredness. It's the end of an era. Over the course of this conversation, you will recognize three truths unfolding in your world right now. First, you will understand why so many things have stopped making sense to you in recent weeks, from friendships to the routes you always traveled. Second, you will identify the root of that excessive effort that has been draining your joy, realizing that your loyalty no longer requires your sacrifice. Stay with me, because every layer we peel back here is part of the harvest that has already begun, even if you can't see it yet. You've been feeling an exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. It's a deep fatigue, down in your soul, born from carrying beliefs that weren't yours. Lately, you've noticed that isolation has become a constant companion. People who used to be close now feel like strangers, and conversations that once flowed naturally now sound like noise. You've had vivid dreams, images that stick in your mind as if they really happened, and maybe you've noticed certain numbers repeating on your clock or in unexpected places. It's not coincidence, it's calibration. Your being is being tuned to a new frequency, and that requires you to disconnect from whatever cannot support your next level of existence. Typing those three numbers is how your spirit registers agreement with what is being adjusted. It's the seal of readiness. It's not about the number itself, it's about the act of declaring that you are aligned with the change that has arrived. Type 888. Then immediately return to what we are about to uncover now. The truth underneath all of this is that you have been operating from a pattern of over-effort. You spent years, maybe decades, believing that your worth was tied to the weight you carry or the speed you run. You've been pulling ropes that, in reality, were no longer attached to anything. You applied your hunger and your drive to routes that destiny had already closed, believing that if you just insisted a little longer, the result would finally show up. But what you didn't realize is that your effort, though noble, became a block. You were trying to push a door that heaven itself had already left unlocked, but you were too busy holding onto the handle. The pattern here is your need to control the process, to make sure the harvest comes from your sweat. But what comes now is not the fruit of your arm. It is the fruit of your surrender. This is the moment your story stops being written by your strength and begins to be guided by the authority that has been given to you. You have felt exhausted because you were plowing soil that was already ready for the seed, trying to repeat the autumn cycle while spring had already arrived. And this harvest, which begins today, is unlike anything you have ever lived, because it comes not from your seeking, but from your readiness to finally stop fighting. Picture now a vast orchard where the trees have grown strong, but over the years, the excess of dry branches and the density of leaves have hidden the flow of sap that should go directly to the fruit. You are that tree. For a long time, you let every experience, every disappointment, and every accumulated responsibility become a new branch, trying to carry the weight of everything that happened, as if that defined your identity. But an orchard that is not pruned does not produce. It only survives. Pruning is not punishment. Pruning is the deepest act of love a gardener can perform on what he intends to see bear fruit. What you have felt lately, that discomfort in letting go of old paths, is exactly the movement of the shears cutting away what no longer produces life, so that vital energy can be redirected toward the harvest you have never seen before. There is no growth without cutting away what is superfluous, and what is happening now in your life is a necessary adjustment. The leaves that fall are only proof that something new is ready to sprout, something that no longer depends on your insistence, but on your integrity in remaining pruned and available for what truly matters. Let the recognition of this need for pruning seal where it has just touched. The simple act of typing these 3 words makes the testimony of what you are experiencing become permanent in your own record. Type, "I am ready," and then immediately return to what we are unraveling together. If this message found your spirit and confirmed something you already knew but couldn't translate into words, let your like be your wordless amen. Do not see it as a metric or a number, but as a silent agreement, a spiritual signature that what was named here was named in truth. It is your way of saying that what is happening inside you finds an echo in what we are building here today. The solution to what you've been searching for, to this harvest that seems finally in sight, was never about increasing your speed or your strength. The solution is the return to your essence, a state of absolute surrender where you stop trying to be the architect of your own fortune and become the host of providence. When you stop fighting, you create the space that destiny needed to enter. It's like you've been running in circles inside a closed room, not realizing the key to the door has always been hanging around your neck, forgotten under the weight of worry. Surrender is not giving up. It is, in fact, the highest form of courage. It is the act of trusting that if you stop pushing the river, the flow of life will finally carry you where you always belonged. Alignment happens when your will quiets enough for the authority that governs your existence to finally take command, guiding your steps toward what you never imagined was possible. But pay close attention, because we are only just beginning to enter the deepest layer of this revelation. What is approaching now is a change in the very nature of your harvest, something that will alter the way you perceive time and results. What comes next is the key that explains why, in the last 20 days, certain things have started aligning so quickly that sometimes you felt you couldn't keep up. Stay with me, because the layer below this one is what will finally clarify why you spent so long in a desert that was, in reality, training for the authority that is about to be exercised through your hands. You have been in a waiting room, but the door has already started to turn, and what is on the other side does not look like anything you have ever tried to build on your own. There is a mathematical precision to what is coming, and it is this precision we are going to examine now, because it changes everything you thought you knew about your role in the world. There is someone in your life who needs to hear these exact words today, someone you know well, but who has been staying in deep silence, watching everything without saying a word. This person has been dedicated with an intensity that no one around them notices, working harder than everyone, carrying a load that often seems too heavy for one pair of shoulders. You can see their face right now. They are someone who has maintained a posture of hope, even when the door, inexplicably, keeps refusing to open. They are someone who, like you, has felt that the waiting time is coming to an end, but still struggles against the doubt that knocks at the door in the dead of night. This person has a restless heart, but a soul that still holds the flame of expectation. Send this message to that person. Do not do it as casual advice or a recommendation for entertainment. Do it as a delivery. Hand over this word exactly as it was handed to you today, out of a commitment that transcends logic and chance. It is not about convincing anyone. It is about reaching out to someone who, like you, is in the antechamber of a transformation ready to bloom. Before this moment closes, I want you to take possession of your position. Do not do it as a wish, nor as a hope you toss to the wind. Do it as a confirmation, as a declaration from one who recognizes the pact that was made here today. This sentence is the key that seals what you heard and what you accepted. The agreement that formed silently between the spiritual plane and your understanding throughout this time is a path you will begin to walk with new clarity from today in this new season of your life. Type it slowly, word by word, and let the movement of your fingers reflect the movement already happening inside your spirit. You are loved. You are seen. You are a harvester. You are loved with a love that does not require you to prove your worth through excessive effort or exhaustion. You are seen in the moments when no one else looked, in those instants of solitude, where your weeping was only silence and your pain was only a weight you carried alone. You are a harvester because what was sown in tears and in waiting is now ready to be gathered by your hands, which, though tired, are prepared for abundance. Your journey was not a wrong turn, it was a forging process. What you went through, what you endured, and what you learned to let go of make up the fertile soil where the promise will sprout. You are no longer in the time of arid sowing. You have entered the time of unexpected harvest. Something happened to you this morning. Something that probably still has no name, but carries undeniable new weight. You woke up with a strangeness in your soul, a feeling that the walls of your routine, though they look the same, have lost the solidity they had until yesterday. I came here to reveal to you what this means. This message is a direct answer to the silent question you have been carrying, the one no one around you understands, because it is not spoken out loud, but in the beats of a heart that has grown tired of waiting. For the time we will spend together, I want you to understand the contract of what comes next. You will recognize 3 clear signs that have been manifesting in your life as a code of spiritual presence. You will identify the single behavior pattern that until now has served as an invisible lock preventing your prosperity. And finally, we will align your frequency with a promise that, for the first time in your history, does not depend on your strength, but on your ability to receive. First, look at the symptoms. You have felt sudden waves of emotion with no apparent cause, as if an ocean were moving inside your chest. Conversations that once filled your day now seem empty, echoing in a space that no longer resonates with your truth. You have been waking up at the same hour, often in the silence of the early morning, as if an internal clock had been set to a frequency the rest of the world ignores. This is not insomnia, it is your spirit being summoned for an alignment meeting. If even one of these signs just touched you, if your shoulders relaxed hearing these words, I need you to pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. The one who types these 3 digits is, in truth, sealing a commitment with the abundance that is about to overflow. It is not just a number, it is the frequency of infinity, the signal that you are ready to receive what has always been held for you. Type 888 and then return your full attention to me. What happens now is the revelation of the hidden pattern. You have been tired, not because your mission is heavy, but because you have been trying to open doors that your own destiny has already deactivated. You have been stretching ropes that are no longer attached to anything. You operated for years under the illusion that effort is the only path to grace, when in reality, your greatest barrier has always been your inability to let go of what your previous cycle had already closed. Imagine an orchard that was forgotten for years. The branches grew chaotically, reaching for light in erratic ways. The moment comes for the gardener, and he does not come to plant more trees. He comes with pruning shears. Pruning hurts while it happens, because it cuts away what seemed to be part of you. But understand, the gardener does not cut to destroy. He cuts so that the fruit of the current season is not choked by the remains of the season that has already died. If you feel you have lost people, opportunities, or paths, do not mourn. What is gone was not a loss. It was the necessary pruning so that your harvest now has room to flourish. By typing this, you declare that you are no longer resisting the movement of the pruning, but instead accepting the harvest that comes right after the clearing. It is a declaration of readiness that alters the energy field around you. Type it and return to me. Let your like now be your wordless amen, not as a metric, but as a deep agreement between what was said here and what you feel is absolute truth for your life on this day. It is a silent seal, a way of saying that you agree with the process and that you are prepared for what the gardener is doing in your life. The solution is not to do more. The solution is to be. You do not need to build. You need to position yourself in the place that has already been prepared for you. When you understand that your life is a succession of cycles, your anxiety disappears. You stop chasing what is being drawn toward you. Ease your pace, because what God is about to do for you now is something He has never done before in your history, because never before have you been at the level of surrender you are at today. Remember that there is someone in your life who needs to hear this as much as you do. Someone you know, whose face just came to your mind as we spoke about pruning and harvest. That person who is quietly exhausted, who works hard, but feels that life has stopped answering their calls. Send this message to them, not as casual advice, but as a delivery, a ministry of care, so they too can understand that their moment of harvest is, finally, knocking at the door. What you have been feeling is not the end of your path, but the beginning of a harvest that was prepared in secret. For decades, you believed that the value of your life was measured by the amount of sweat you poured, the complexity of the barriers you tore down, and the insistence on doors that stayed locked. Yet on this 20th day of June, something was unlocked. It was not your accomplishment, it was a divine concession. The change you noticed upon waking today, that unusual silence that seems to inhabit your mind, is the evidence that the author of your story decided to change the plot. You have always wondered why things for you seem heavier, why the effort others make seems to yield double, while yours is tested to the point of exhaustion. The answer no one gave you, but that your spirit always knew, is that you were forged for a disproportionate harvest. Those who plant ordinary seeds reap ordinary results, but those who were chosen to carry a greater mission go through times of preparation where scarcity is not lack. It is space. It is the emptiness necessary so that the new does not mix with the old. The feeling that you are living in two worlds at the same time, where your physical body still tries to handle yesterday's demands while your soul already dwells in the clarity of a future that has not yet manifested, is the clearest symptom of your transition. It is as if you are in a waiting room where the walls are becoming transparent. You see what is out there, you smell the season that is coming, but you still have to deal with the furniture of the season left behind. Do not rush to discard what you still carry. Just understand that your role has changed. You are no longer a servant who must beg for crumbs of opportunity. You are the heir being positioned to reap what you did not plant, but that was sown by generations before you. The hard work you have done up to this point was not in vain. It was the fuel that fed your resilience, and it is this resilience that will now be the structure of your stability. What God is about to do for you in this phase does not resemble anything you have ever read, seen, or experienced. It will be an event of recognition, an inversion of priorities, where what was hidden, your purpose, your voice, your essence, will be lifted to a place of honor. Consider the times you felt invisible, the nights when your only company was the weight of an unanswered question, the hours when your prayer seemed to hit the ceiling and return without direction. All of this was a process of distillation. What was vanity? What was the need for external approval? What was fear of judgment? All of it was removed by life itself. Today, you are lighter, not because you lost what was important, but because you let go of what was too heavy for your new journey. You are ready to carry the glory that would have crushed you before. This harvest has nothing to do with how much you want it, but with how much you can sustain without being corrupted. The secret of your new phase is receptivity. You do not need to seek what is yours. You only need to allow what is yours to reach you. When you stop fighting, you stop blocking the flow. The struggle is the natural state of one who believes they must conquer what was already given to them by birthright. Rest, peace, the certainty that your path is being paved as you walk, that is the natural state of the chosen one. If you could see the movement happening behind the scenes of your life, if you could see the pieces being moved by hands you cannot see, your anxiety would cease immediately. The fear that time is passing and nothing is changing is the greatest illusion you carry. Time is not moving away from you, it is aligning itself with you. Every second, every breath, every moment of stillness is a step toward that day. That instant when the final result of your journey will be revealed not only to you, but to everyone who doubted your process. True authority doesn't come from titles or positions. It comes from total surrender to a purpose you didn't create, but accepted. You were called to be the carrier of a change, and that change begins with how you see yourself. Stop seeing yourself as someone still trying to get somewhere. See yourself as someone who has already arrived at the place of waiting, where what is meant for you cannot miss its mark. Your destiny has your name written on it, and nothing, not past circumstances, not the voices that said it wouldn't work, can stop what has already been decreed. What lies ahead is a path without the stones you had to remove in recent years. You are leaving the ground where you had to learn how to build, and entering the ground where you will dwell and enjoy the fruit. It is a shift in frequency, a leveling up where your voice will carry new weight, where your decisions will have surgical precision, and where peace will be your constant, not the exception. Everything you have lived through up to now was the training for what you are about to govern. Before this moment closes, and you return to your day, I want you to understand that your identity is not what you do. It's who you are in the presence of the one who called you. Your story is not an accident, not a succession of mistakes. It is a meticulously designed script so that your light shines precisely where the darkness was most intense. What you carry is a legacy, a mark that cannot be erased, and from now on, it will begin to manifest through every word you speak and every step you take. In light of what has been revealed, before your mind tries to rationalize or search for explanations, affirm your position and accept what has been reserved for this time. Type with the calm of someone who knows that your search has ended and your harvest has begun. You are committed to the truth. You are commissioned for the harvest. You are sent to shine. Directly from this place, at this moment, as you read these words, know that across the world, other souls are hearing the same confirmation. You are not alone in this journey of recognition. You are part of a silent and deep movement happening in hearts like yours. Hearts that carry the weight of the promise and the hope of surrender. There is someone crossing your spiritual path, someone you carry in your memory with a mix of admiration and concern. Think of that person now. They are someone who works in silence, someone who carries an exhaustion that doesn't come from the body, but from the soul, and someone who possesses deep intuition but is afraid to trust their own voice. Their face is appearing in your mind at this very moment, with the clarity of one who asks for a bridge. Send this message to them. Do it not as a recommendation, do it as an offering. What was revealed to you today is not a private privilege, it is a network charge. If something in what has been shared here resonated with the truth you hold deep in your chest, allow your wordless amen to be present. What you feel as a deep agreement is the key that unlocks your own harvest. There is no need for applause, only the recognition that between us, what was said has been heard. Let your gesture be the mark that the message did not fall on dry ground, but found the fertile soil where the promise will bloom. You are committed to the calling entrusted to you. You are commissioned to be the light in places where darkness tried to settle. You are sent to harvest the fruits of a sowing that began long before you understood your purpose. From now on, your life will not be defined by what you lost, but by the authority you assume over what is to come. The time of waiting for permission from others is over, because the authorization you seek has already been granted from above, and it is final and irrevocable. At this moment, in every corner of the world, other souls are receiving this same revelation. You are not operating in isolation, but in tune with an invisible network of people who, like you, have been awakened to their true mission. What is happening now needs no announcements or spotlights, because your strength lies precisely in the discretion of the change your spirit is undergoing. It is sealed.